Hi everyone, Mr. Dix here. This time I thought I'd do a bit more of a live video. So we're going to do carbonara, really simple. Just going to quickly go through the ingredients, all right? So we're going to use obviously some spaghetti, which is traditional. I mean, there are hundreds of varieties and actually doesn't really matter, but spaghetti is traditional. I've actually got some pancetta here. Now, pancetta is still a type of Italian cured bacon. You use streaky bacon, you could use like just regular bacon, but we're going to try and go fully Italian today, and pancetta is what they'd use in Italy. Eggs, just about eggs, I'm sure you know, where possible, and obviously it's money and financial as well, do try and get free range eggs if you can. It's more about the animal welfare, but if you Google back caged hen eggs, you probably won't buy them again. They are much cheaper, but they are much cheaper for a reason. Okay, so nutritionally they're exactly the same, but kind of morally, ethically, free range eggs are better, but obviously that has a choice for you. 1 garlic clove, and we have some Parmesan here. I would always recommend, where possible, is to actually get a whole block of Parmesan, or a chunk of Parmesan rather than the pre-grated. The pre-grated will start losing flavour more or less as soon as you start grating it. All right, so try and get a block if you can. It does freeze as well, so I do it all the time. So you use a bit and you can freeze it, and then etc. etc. All right, so let's start making the carbonara. Okay, so we're going to start the sauce now for the carbonara. Really simple, only 3 ingredients. You'll see some recipes with cream or creme fraiche. You don't need it, and you certainly wouldn't find that in Italy. The recipe we're going to try and do, like it's only really 5-6 ingredients, you would get in Italy. Okay, so first of all, we're going to put the egg yolks into a bowl. So there's 3 egg yolks. I've already done 2. So just as a reminder, probably have another bowl. You could make something with this. You could make meringues. You can freeze egg whites actually as well, so you could keep them and then use them for something later. So the best way to do it is to crack. So you make a hole, put your fingers in, but what you then do is rock between the 2 shells, and that goes in. Okay, so that's that. And we can get rid of this bowl. We want some salt and some pepper. Okay, so a pinch of salt, not too much salt because the cheese is actually really salty itself, and some pepper. Can I say about pepper is this is cracked pepper rather than the ground pepper. This actually has got a much better flavour. Once you grind it, just like the cheese really, it starts losing its flavour. All right, so I want a pinch of this, like that. Right, then we want some cheese. It's about 40 grams of cheese. 40 grams is about 3 decent tablespoons of cheese. I'm just gonna guess, these graters are really good. So it just goes in. So I'm just gonna guess 40 grams. Okay, now I'm gonna use some of the rest later to put on the top. But that is the sauce for the carbonara. Okay, so just give it a little mix. Okay, so that's stage 1, and then we can now put that to the side. Okay, so we're now gonna cook the pasta. One thing to note is you need to make sure that it's big enough to kind of hold the pasta, dependent on how many portions you're making, and the water must be boiling. All right, often when we're doing this at school, students will put the pasta in and then turn the water on. What then happens is all the starch comes out of the pasta and we get a mass rather than nice loose pasta. If you're using spaghetti, the way with spaghetti, although this is a slightly different sort of spaghetti, this is called bucante spaghetti. But if it was regular spaghetti, I know it doesn't look much, but what you would do is about the diameter of a sort of a 10p piece is enough for 1 person. You see that? Whoops, there we go. It's about enough for about 1 person. All right, it doesn't look much, but obviously spaghetti does expand, or pasta expands when it's cooked. So the water goes in, or the pasta goes in. Obviously then at this point, it's sticking out. So what we do is just give it a few seconds, and what then will happen is, as this bottom part cooks, you can just gently push. So you can probably hear the pasta bubbling away. That's nearly done, probably about 3-ish minutes away. We need a little bit of oil in the frying pan. Not too much because the pancetta is oily or fatty. What we're going to do first, actually, is add the garlic. All right, now what will happen is the garlic would start to sizzle. As that happens, we then put in the pancetta. Okay, but I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so as you can see, the garlic is now done its job and it's flavoured the oil, and you do need to remove this because it can go bitter if you overcook it. Right, so that now is really hot. That's all now nice and crispy. Now this bit is a slightly not unusual bit, but the bit that some people don't always get. So as you see, the pasta now is done. This is all going to be quite quick. So the pasta goes into the bacon, and actually, if you can drain some oil off if you want to, but actually some of that is some of the flavour. What we now do, I'm going to take it off and I'm going to quickly change the camera and see it's still sizzling, so that didn't take any time at all. A few things, notice it's off the heat. Do not put it on the heat, otherwise you will get scrambled eggs. What we now do is simply put the egg mixture that we have previously made into the pan. I stress, do not put this on the heat or back on the heat, because you will get scrambled eggs. Now, one bit people don't get is the fact, oh, that looks really gloopy, oh, that's really thick, etc., etc. It is. So if you note, we still have the cooking water, and what we do, and this is just what the Italians do, is they put a little bit of cooking water in to loosen the mixture to make it that kind of nice, creamy sauce. All right, so I'm just going to add a little bit more. Again, I say do not put this on the heat. All right, as you hopefully see, all of a sudden we've gone from sort of a mass to actually a much creamier sauce, and actually it does take, or can take, quite a lot of liquid. Depends on how saucy you like it. I think that's good. Okay, so here is our bowl. Let's put this in the middle. Now you notice there's no, on some recipes you see herbs and other things. We are not doing that. We're doing this as you actually would buy this in an Italian restaurant, actually in Italy. We need some more Parmesan on the top, really important. And there we go. There is our carbonara, made as they would make it in Italy.